Hello and welcome to MondayQuarterback.com. I'm Keith Shelton alongside with Damon Coons and Eric Shelton for your weekly fantasy insight. This week, we have had a little bit of action in the NFL. Preseason games have started and drafts are about to come up. Brett Favre is now back out of retirement and a Minnesota Viking. Ashley Lee is a Chief, Michael Vick is an Eagle, and T.O. is hurt. Big surprise. Here we go, and let's talk about the draft a little bit. We completed a mock draft right before the airing of this show, and we're going to discuss that mock draft a little bit. Next week, we're going to go ahead and discuss the running backs and wide receivers so you can prepare for your draft. First 6 picks of the draft were all running backs. Fairly typical, but I was a little surprised that Steven Jackson went 5th overall. Eric?
He is not a 5th overall pick. He is more of a late second round, early third round pick, but 5th is a little premature.
Eric, you took Michael Turner, 4th overall. Why did you take him over MJD?
I think Michael Turner, he has it all. He's on a team that has a good offense. He showed that he could run the last 3 years, and he did a great job with him being the man in Atlanta.
Okay. 7th overall pick, I had that pick. I was the 7th team. I took Larry Fitzgerald based on the key running backs were all taken on that top tier. Thought I'd go with a number 1 wide receiver. Play it safe. Damon, you actually picked 10th in the draft. You took Andre Johnson. There's only 2 receivers that went before him, which was Fitzgerald, my pick, and Randy Moss. Why did you take Johnson?
I took Johnson because he's got the potential to have a monster year in Houston. I was really thrilled to see that he was still there at 10. Some other mocks I've done this year, he's gone 7 and 8. So the receivers hung on a little bit later than I expected, with Fitz not going till 7, and then Moss followed him up, and I was more than pleased to take Andre Johnson with the number 10 pick overall.
Okay. After your pick with Andre Johnson, Tommy picked Calvin Johnson, came back on the 2nd round of the snake draft, picked Reggie Wayne. LT was still there and you snagged him up. Good deal? Were you surprised he was there at 15th overall?
Yes and no. It was a great deal to get some first round quality in the 2nd round. Not surprised because a lot of people are down on LT this year after the year he had last season where he kind of had some injury problems, and he's turned that magic number of 30, where a lot of people are kind of down on LT this year. I look for him to bounce back. I think he's still going to get you 10 touchdowns. He did that last year. Not a bad number for a 2nd round pick.
Okay. I was 18th pick. I took Greg Jennings. Ended up with Fitzgerald, Jennings. 2 solid receivers that should have great years. Obviously, that's going to leave me kind of weak at the running back position. After that, Eric took Anquan Bolden in the 2nd round, number 21 overall. Was he a better pick than maybe a Marcus Colston or another running back, Eric?
Yeah, I think that Arizona's going to be throwing the ball a lot this year, just like they have in the last 3 years. They've thrown the ball astronomically, and it has been great to be a receiver in Arizona.
All right. How about some steals of the draft? I personally think Matt Castle in the 9th round was a steal. Starting quarterback, they gave him a contract, they got to play him. He's got more and more weapons. He's got Lilly, he's got Dwayne Bowe, he's got Larry Johnson out of the backfield. He's got some weapons. So I think Matt Castle in the 9th round was a steal. How about you, Eric? Who do you think was a steal?
I don't think Lilly is any factor at all in and Castle's play. My steal was Beanie Wells, 7th round. Beanie Wells is going to be a number 2 starter on anyone's team out there. He is going to be Arizona's starter this year, and he'll get the goal line carries.
Damon, any sleepers?
Personally, my steal was Derek Ward in the 7th round. He's not listed number 1 on the depth chart right now, but he's definitely going to be the guy getting the carries in Tampa Bay. After what he showed last year in New York, he's a guy you definitely want to try to pick up late in your draft because a lot of people are going to overlook him.
All right. How about Jarius Norwood in the 12th round? I think that's an excellent pickup in the 12th round. I don't think Michael Turner's going to get the carries like he did get last year, and I think Norwood as a 12th round pick was an excellent pick. Tommy took Matt Hasselbeck in the 8th round. Was that a steal?
That's about right where I'd like to see Hasselbeck go. He's got the potential to really bounce back this year, I think. And 8th round to get possibly somebody that's going to be starting on your team later in the season, it's a great time to get him.
Now we've done our draft. Who's got the best team besides yourself? Damon, we'll start with you.
I think Dave has the best team. He started off with the top wideout with Randy Moss. Followed that up with Brandon Jacobs. Pretty good guy to have as your number 1 running back. He can really pound it in there and get lots of touchdowns. Vincent Jackson, Roy Williams followed that up. He's got a pretty solid receiving core now. And then Lindell White and Matt Schaub, a couple of guys you can get later on to really solidify those other positions. I think Schaub is got the potential with Andre Johnson and Kevin Walter to really be a guy you can snag in the 5th round and have solid quarterback production from. But that Lindell White, you got to be lucky to grab him when you did, because he can really get a lot of goal line touches there. So I'm going with Dave.
Okay. Besides your own team, who drafted the best, Eric?
I think it was Lenny. Lenny did a good job getting Tony Romo to lead his team. Adrian Peterson is his number 1 overall pick, with Marion Barber in the backfield. Coming off the bench would be Willie Parker. Willie Parker is very solid as a number 3 running back. And Eddie Royal. Eddie Royal as his receiver has shown that he can stand the NFL and did a good job last year as a rookie. Hines Ward. Hines Ward is that solid, knock you in the face wide receiver. He's old school.
Okay. I think Lee drafted the best. Lee started off, drafted D'Angelo Williams in the 1st round, went on, picked Colston up, took Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner's got great receivers to throw to. I think Lee has a really good team. He's got Larry Johnson. I think Lee is going to be one to contend with. The scary news is maybe biased or not, none of us picked each other's teams. So, that's this week's show of MondayQuarterback.com. Tune in next week. We will have running backs and wide receivers for season longs, keepers, sleepers, studs, and duds. See you next week.